For me, when I was coming through college, I mostly played the shooting guard position, so I was mostly off the ball, receiving passes, and I had a great point guard that I played with at Davidson that was my setup man, and he always found me when I was open. But there came a time where he left school after he graduated, and I had to make the transition over to being a full-time point guard. Still being a shooting threat and a scoring threat, but really having to work on my ball handling and becoming a much more efficient ball handler, being able to create space, being able to have that control of the basketball, to still have a quick release when I needed to shoot the basketball, and also being able to set other people up and always having the ability to be a threat in those three areas. And so I spent a lot of time working on my ball handling skills, and the mechanics of it, the details of it, and being able to use those options to help me become a better shooter, because I feel like I'm more connected to the ball than ever. No matter what position you play on the court, there's going to be times where you have to handle the ball. And for me, getting from point A to point B and having that control over the basketball is so important to being an extreme threat and a very hard person to guard on the basketball court. Doesn't mean you have to have all those bells and whistles and tricks and all that kind of stuff, but just being able to have control of that basketball and knowing no matter what move you try or where you try to get on the floor, that ball is going to be connected to you is so important. The keys to becoming a great ball handler in your body position are very similar to those of being a great shooter, because your foundation is the same, so that you're always ready to shoot it at a moment's notice. So we always want to keep our nose behind our toes. We want to have our base really loaded. We don't want to have our back arched over like this, so we're off balance. We want to be able to see the whole floor. So I talk about nose behind our toes. We want to have our hips loaded, and we want to be able to dribble away from our feet. We don't want to have those situations where the ball is going to knock off your feet and you're going to lose your rhythm and your balance. So we always want to have that ball away from our feet in a very solid position. I'm in one position right now. Obviously, that doesn't happen in the game, but the foundation is still the same, no matter if I'm moving laterally, straight forward or back, or if I'm in a static position. So the key to all that is balance. We want to be able to really work on what it feels like to move the ball around our body from a static position, so that when we are moving in a game-like situation, that ball is moving at the same speed as our body is. And we are always in balance and always ready to change direction, always ready to be shot ready, always having control of the basketball at all times. So we work on that by being in a solid athletic position, nose behind our toes, hips loaded. I can always just dribble out here. I can pound the ball into the ground. When I'm talking about doing a between the legs move, I want to be able to work on turning my shoulders and moving the basketball around my body, as opposed to moving my feet and becoming a less efficient dribbler. So I can work on that by just keeping my feet still, pounding the ball, going between my legs. So we always want to have that ball on a string and being able to do whatever we want to do with it. We like to teach having the basketball come up somewhere between your knee and your hip, which coincidentally is about the same space and the same height that you need to get into your shot pocket. So we don't want to dribble too low when we're down here having to reach for it. We don't want to dribble too high where there's so much time in between, the ball being in your hand and the ball being on the floor. There's that really, really cool sweet spot that you can find somewhere between your knee and your hip, that you can get that basketball bounced into. And I can also get shot ready from there at any moment's notice. Becoming a great dribbler is centered around mastering the 3 simple dribble moves that everyone should have in their arsenal at every time. We talk about the crossover, we talk about between the legs, we talk about behind the back. Those 3 moves are the foundation for any combination that you want to put together, any footwork that you want to have, any way that you want to create a shot or create space can all be based off of those 3 dribble moves and mastering what it feels like to have that ball moving around your body in those different patterns. All those come from being in a solid position, keeping our nose in the center of our body. I never want to be leaning from side to side, out of balance and shifting like that. I want to be able to have everything centered and have that ball moving as fast as possible and under control around my body. So we do the crossovers is here. We keep everything centered. The ball is moving. We're between the legs. My shoulders are moving and throwing the ball between our legs. And on the behind the back, we want to make sure it's almost the same drill and the same feeling and movement as a crossover. I'm just doing it behind my back here. I don't want to have to be able to wrap it like this or do any of that because that's much less efficient to be able to move the ball from side to side and keeping everything stacked and everything centered and everything in balance. From all these dribble moves, I can always get to my shot pocket whenever I want to. So keeping everything the same, if I'm in the crossover position, at any time I can get into my shot pocket. No matter if it's at the right hand or left hand, going between my legs. I can always keep it here. And even on the behind the back, you might seem like it's a long way to get into my shot pocket, but if I have everything under control and my body's in the right position, I can always, at a moment's notice, bring it here and keep everything stacked, keep everything solid, and keep everything fast. When I'm in a game and I'm sizing up my defender, trying to figure out how I want to create space or set somebody else up for a pass or, drive into the lane to finish or even, knock down a jumper, 99% of the time it's all based on one of those 3 moves or a combination of all 3. So it seems very complex at times, but at its core, it's very simple, mastering that between the legs, that crossover, that behind the back, and making sure the ball is on a string and on a rope attached to these hands. The key to becoming a confident ball handler is all about having intensity and aggressiveness and power behind your dribble. We want to have as minimal amount of time with that ball in the air. It either needs to be on the ground bouncing or needs to be in our hands so that we have full control over the ball and we allow ourselves to have the upper hand and the control over where the defender is. For me, I never worry about where the defender is or where his hands are because I know I have control of the basketball and it's going to be really hard for him to catch up to me changing hands from right to left with a hard crossover or a hard between the legs or a hard behind the back. Alternatively, if I do it as a soft dribble and that ball's spending a lot of time changing hands and a lot of time in that space in between, that's plenty of time for that defender to be able to size it up, either get a deflection, get a steal, or change up the rhythm of my dribble because I'm worried about where he is. So when you're thinking about becoming a better ball handler, you should focus on one thing, knowing that the harder that you dribble that basketball and the more intensity that you put behind each bounce will allow you to be a lot better, suited to make those combination moves, to put together all that footwork that you need to have. The softer the dribble, the harder it is for those things to happen with rhythm and to happen with flow, and to actually be able to help you create space on the basketball floor. So don't be afraid to make mistakes. Don't be afraid to lose the ball when you're practicing, because you want to go as hard as you can to challenge yourself to really understand what it feels like to control that basketball. This is a good way to start every workout. Just remember that everything is a progression. Start simple. Keep your hips loaded, well balanced, and drive the ball hard into the ground. Keep the ball outside of your feet. I'll usually start by doing 20 on each side, then 6 on each side, then 2, then 1. On the crossover, note how little my nose is moving. It's moving just a little bit, but not enough to shift my weight from one side of my body to the other. Remember, on these dribbles, you always want to keep your eyes up, never looking at the ball. On the between the legs, there's minimal shoulder turn. It's okay if you pick your heel up a little bit when you're going between your legs. Drive the ball under your hamstring, not under your butt, to make it travel the shortest distance possible. And on the behind the back, you're not wrapping, and you're actually not going behind your back. You're just going right underneath your hamstring. The ball is just moving side to side, just like a crossover, just behind the knee. Stay seated in your hips. Don't reach for the ball. See how my offhand is just hanging there waiting for the ball, and the ball finds it? Don't reach. A good way to practice these dribbles is to string them together in a combination. Try doing each 6 times, then each 2 times, then each 1 time. When you're thinking about the details of ball handling, the best way to check yourself is to ask yourself while you're dribbling is if I'm in this position, can I shoot from this position? Can I take that crossover move and turn it right into a shot-ready position and get into a perfect release? If the answer is no, then you need to readjust yourself and readjust your body to be able to make that correction. So some of the mistakes that some players make when they're dribbling the basketball is they get a little bit lazy with their feet. They get a little, they lose the details in your balance and your body positioning, and it creates a much larger distance for the ball to have to travel, which when you have that time in the game when you create a little bit of space and you have to get that ball in that shot pocket. If I'm in this position and doing these dribble moves and having to bring the ball back around and then shuffle my feet to get back into shot pocket, it's going to take entirely too long for you to get that shot off. So that if I'm here and I'm doing crossover dribbles and I'm losing focus on where my body is, it just seems how loose the basketball is, and I'm not really ready to, at a moment's notice, get the ball here into my shot pocket. I can't shoot from this position. So we always want to keep our feet underneath us, as close to shoulder width apart as we can, keeping everything intact. And at any moment, I can bring it into the shot pocket and knock down that shot. Here, Brandon's dribbling with the ball inside his feet, eyes down and dribbling softly. You want the ball outside your feet, eyes up, and a hard dribble. Here, he's got his nose outside his body. He's leaning on one leg, dribbling too low, and dribbling softly. This is called palming the ball. You don't want to dribble with just the palm of your hand. This is what we call moving your body around the ball, not the ball around your body. You see Brandon's nose is turning and moving outside the frame of his body. His feet are too wide, and it's really hard to move athletically when you're moving the ball like this. He's driving the ball too far back, under his butt instead of under his hamstrings, and dribbling way too high off the ground. Here, look at Brandon's shoulders. You don't want to turn your shoulders too much when driving the ball between your legs. Keep that shoulder turn minimal and efficient. Here, he's shuffling his feet, which makes it hard to be explosive and hard to get up into your shot. Keep those feet stationary when practicing these moves. Don't bend your knees inward. Keep your lower body in a strong, athletic position. And don't lean backwards to chase the ball.